Good morning. This is the snowstorm now coming to you daily at 10 a.m. Pacific. It is Sunday, August 3rd. I'm your host, Nicholas Snow, and today we are rallying around still very much alive celebrated community member Richard Bass. Just a quick note, if you're not watching this on YouTube, this is a rebroadcast. So for everyone that wants to participate in my broadcast live when it's happening, you do that from my YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel that you're going to want to engage with and set a reminder for is youtube.com/PromoHomo.TV network. That's youtube.com/PromoHomo.TV network. You like and subscribe, but you also need to turn on notifications. And after the broadcast happens initially on YouTube, I will rebroadcast it across other social media. But the goal of the show is that at the top of each broadcast, I'm interacting with all of you. I'm curating your remarks onto the screen. So just wanted you to know about that. So yesterday, by the way, Richard, I love you, and this is a surprise for you. That's why I didn't let you know I was going to do it. So surprise! Yesterday, August 2nd, I received an email from the P.A.L.S board of directors with the news that the organization's founder, Richard Bass, whom I'm honored to know, is receiving hospice care. The email is encouraging Richard's friends and admirers to gather around Richard with love and light as he opens up and shares what it's really like to encounter one's end of life. P.A.L.S, by the way, is planning ahead for LGBTQ plus seniors. And as we learn at PALSinthedesert.com, P.A.L.'s mission is to create a community of seniors who look out for each other by informing and educating LGBTQ plus people and allies on all aspects of planning ahead before health or life-threatening situations arise. P.A.L.S accomplishes its mission by offering informational and educational programs year-round that include no-cost seminars, workshops, resource materials, and special events both in person and online. By the way, you can find them at palsinthedesert.com. That's palsinthedesert.com. So on May 2nd, 2024, I, Nicholas Snow, that's me, I live streamed Richard's retirement party from the patio at 849 Restaurant and Lounge. And now, as we are called to rally around Richard, I thought, well, let's celebrate him. Richard, let's celebrate you again, as you deserve while you're living. So in this episode, I'm going to share a rebroadcast of that beautiful event starring Richard himself. You're going to watch it until the end because Richard speaks and he gives a beautiful, eloquent speech. So that is what's happening in the broadcast today. The full text of the letter from the board of directors from P.A.L.S is associated with this video. You can read it. You can find the link to P.A.L.S in the Desert. And also there is a Caring Bridge page where Richard is interacting with all of us, and you can interact with Richard. And the Caring Bridge page is also linked. And I'm actually just going to give you a peek at those pages. So let me just see here. Just 1 second. I'm going to bring it up on screen right now. Bear with me. So this is Richard's Caring Bridge page. And there's a note from him on the page. So I'm just going to read it to you. And this installment from Richard was on August 3rd. Well, that was today. He posted this today. And he he's recounting how he came to know that he had this sort of cancer that he has. And he's reflecting that that day I told Alex to set up hospice service for me, anticipating better quality of life without treatment. It's been an emotional journey to reality in a short time, although it's clear I've been living with cancer at least since the beginning of this year. I'm so grateful to be able to share this part of my life with you. While I've enjoyed many brunches and dinner parties, nothing compares to the connections I have made while planning ahead for care and now receiving that care. No matter where you are in this world, my heart is with you. And our hearts are with you as well, Richard. And I'm going to actually try to call you later today when this broadcast has been complete, but you might already know about it by then. So coming up, I have that special rebroadcast of the event. So I don't know, for decades, I've been broadcasting important programming, and I just happened in my archives to have this beautiful event that spotlighted Richard. And it's just one example of the accumulating impact of my own multimedia entertainment activism, which would not happen without the support of my patrons. Your name can be in the closing credits of most new episodes of my show if you pledge as little as $10 a month to support my work. If you only want to pledge $3 a month, at the end of the third month or so, you get this wonderful sticker that looks great on your car. But I want to just thank the patrons, the active patrons now, and just show you who they are. I'll be your light. So just go to patreon.com/PromoHomo.TV and you can sign up if you're so inspired. I also want to thank the sponsors of my show, which I'm going to do now, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to rebroadcast that wonderful event starring Richard Bass coming up. I'm Nicholas Snow, and I'd like to thank Willie Ryan and John Pascal, owners of EIGHT4NINE Restaurant and Lounge, for their support of PromoHomo.TV from the beginning. I was honored to work at the restaurant the first 4 years they were open, during which time I was inspired to write this. At EIGHT4NINE Restaurant and Lounge, sitting in the lounge area at a high top with a view of the grand corridor, the main dining area, is truly like starring in one play while simultaneously watching another, both with fabulous scenery and lighting, a gorgeous cast, fascinating characters, and exciting plot twists, complete with movie stars and paparazzi, not to mention fabulous eats. I call it reality dinner theater. See and be seen while starring in your own scene. Perhaps we'll have a scene together. Make your reservations at EIGHT4NINE.com.
Hi, it's Brad Furr, a proud media sponsor of PromoHomo.TV, and I'm the owner of K-Gay Palm Springs and Gay Desert Guide. We just wanted to say thank you and thanks to Nicholas Snow for what he does. K-Gay Radio is a worldwide streaming service of great dance hits that you can listen to anywhere, anytime. And when you're planning your visit to Greater Palm Springs, use gaydesertguide.lgbt.
Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY.
Hi, my name is Matt Scalarud, president of Pink Media and a very proud and long-term supporter of PromoHomo.TV. So at Pink Media, we've been working with companies large and small, including destinations such as this, to kind of help them target and reach the LGBT community online. And so we've been doing this for almost 30 years. And what's more important is that, it started out with banner ads and email campaigns, and now we've morphed into social media and video, and it's all about storytelling. So if you have a story and a message that you'd like to get out to a very targeted yet broad audience online, reaching the LGBT community, give us a call or reach us at www.pinkmedia.lgbt. Thanks.
The LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert is the only Coachella Valley organization dedicated to meeting the diverse needs of all LGBTQ plus individuals. From our Palm Springs McDonald Wright Building to the Center Coachella, the Scott Hines Behavioral Health Clinic, and the Community Food Bank, our mission comes to life by making meaningful connections to resources and to community that contribute to LGBTQ plus people's health and happiness. For more information, visit thecentercv.org.
Welcome to PromoHomo.TV. I'm your host, Nicholas Snow, and this is a special higher powered edition. So when I conceived the show Higher Powered on PromoHomo.TV, I wanted to share stories of experience, strength, and hope, infusing infinite views of spirituality and purpose. So I thought it was very relevant to wrap the Richard Bass episode when we're reaching out to him with our love and support with the notion of higher powered, with the notion of legacy, with the notion of contribution. All of these things speak to who Richard is. And Richard, I know you're going to see this. So I just want to say, if anyone is prepared for what you're going through now, you are. And I can't imagine how many people are prepared in for their end of life as well because of your vision and your work, as is going to become evident when I rebroadcast your retirement party. And I'm going to do that right now. Just so you know, this was originally broadcast live using a smartphone on Facebook. The audio that you're going to experience is as good as it's going to be. There are some moments in the show where you're going to be having a hard time hearing. I'll be with you live rewatching this if you're watching the morning of Sunday, August 3rd, 2025. And if you're commenting during this live broadcast, I can curate your remarks onto the screen. If you're watching this after the fact, wherever you're watching, whatever media platform you're watching, share your love with Richard underneath the comments. And also look at the text associated with this video to find Richard's Caring Bridge page. Go to palsinthedesert.com to learn how to support them and their important work. And I'll have some important things to tell you at the end of the show. But without further delay, I want to move right into the encore broadcast from that day.
Farewell celebration for you-know-who, Richard Bass. The man of the hour. Okay, good. Richard, you can sit down for a little bit because you will be standing quite a bit. As I was saying, so what we'd like to do is, first of all, I'd like all the current steering committee members to please raise your hand. And if you're, yes, steering committee members who are currently on the P.A.L.S steering committee. We are all here because we volunteer, because we love P.A.L.S, and because we love you, obviously, because we know this is a service for our community. So in honor of Richard, we're going to start out by having one of our steering committee members, Alma Wiseman, wants to say a few words, because she hasn't known him longest, but she's known him for a while. Go ahead, Alma.
So Joy said to me, Joy, where are you, Joy? My Beshert over here. There she is. Everybody knows Joy. You'll see her on the news tonight. Joy said to me, you want to meet this guy? I said, okay. She said, we're going to go over to the river. We're going to go over to Jerry Keller's place at the river. We're going to meet this guy. He wants to do some kind of thing like Rainbow Vision, like a senior place. And I thought, oh, we had just left Santa Fe and we had just been doing a senior place. And I thought, okay, let's give him a reality dose and figure out what he really wants to do. And then the man turned out to be Richard Bass with all these really amazing ideas about how to serve seniors. Yay. Yeah. And I thought, you know, each person we meet gives us an opportunity to be inspired and inspire someone else. And after having met Richard, I thought, wow, he's got the energy, he's got the vision, and now everybody, look what he created. A round of applause. Thank you so much, Richard. And now he's making his mark over at Stonewall. He's got Ruthie Berman over there with him. And at this point, we can say, you know, not only goodbye to Richard, but we can also thank him for the numerous amazing New Year's brunches he hosted us at. Wonderful brunches, wonderful times, a great inspiration, and we just thank you and we love you, and you're in our hearts. Thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you, Atma. I know, Christopher, are you around?
So I felt like I just needed to say a word of appreciation to Richard. And I started thinking about all the different groups that we've served together on. And I think I met you first when Let's Kick Ass was... When Let's Kick Ass... Oh, okay. Voice of God. So I was just saying that Richard and I had served in many different groups together. And I just appreciated that time with him. And I think the first one was Let's Kick Ass when they were meeting with Tez Anderson and trying to develop an idea about how AIDS survivors could get together, people that had been living a long time and their experience had been similar, how could they share that experience together? So I started to go through on Let's Kick Ass was one of the places, and then the Patient Partner Advisory Board for Heart P.S. Richard served with us on that. The Patient Partner Steering Committee. The Positively Aging Conference, Richard has contributed presentations for that. He came up with the idea for a communication group with Let's Kick Ass for the round table, which is still going really strong and has really brought in a lot of people to express what is going on in their lives and share with each other. And then the Care Connection that was building on those shared experiences. And I just want to say how much I've appreciated Richard giving of himself to the community this way, and how much I learned. And he's the inspiration to become an idea machine. How can you keep spinning out ideas as you
closer to your mouth?
Oh, as you hit your 70s, 75, 80, 85. How do you keep coming up with all these ideas? I have been totally inspired and and want to emulate Richard and these ideas that he has for bringing community together. It has been a really great experience, and I don't know. He's moving on from from P.A.L.S, but there's other things out there. I know. I always hear this refrain coming up. What's next? So, what's next, Richard? Thank you so very much.
Thank you. So I'd like to, at this point, read aloud. Let me just get it ready here. Hold on. We have another steering committee member who has been on the P.A.L.S steering committee since the very beginning. His name is Michael Grogan, and he is a what do you call, a Canadian American or American Canadian. He has a home here in California, and he has one up in Vancouver. And like most good snowbirds, he leaves when it starts getting hot. So unfortunately he's not here tonight. But he did send a really nice letter, and I'd like to read it to you from Mike Grogan. Here we go. Greetings to you all from Canada. Richard Bass is passionate about helping the community he is part of, whether in LA, where he organized to bring awareness to police inaction over gay bashing and murders in his neighborhood, to assisting LGBTQ seniors in Palm Springs with the difficult to discuss subjects of preparing for end of life. Richard is a take action man, not one to stand on the sidelines when he sees a need. I'm so pleased to know him and see that he is being recognized by all of us here today. I first met Richard more than 10 years ago through a social organization called Boots and Squares, which is an LGBTQ square dance group, of which he was then president. I sensed his leadership qualities and thought he was someone I could assist in giving back to my community here in the desert. From our initial discussions on what do we call ourselves, which soon became P.A.L.S, which, as you all know, stands for Planning Ahead for LGBTQ Seniors, to the first seminars in hotel meeting rooms and the Stonewall Gardens dining room, it has been a thrill to see our organization become so regarded in the Coachella Valley. Richard's tireless networking with community leaders, healthcare professionals, and anyone who would listen has brought awareness to the unique needs of LGBTQ seniors. Hundreds of seniors have been helped to maintain healthy, independent lives, whether living alone or in relationships, through P.A.L.S ongoing informative seminars, discussion groups, and resource information. And Richard continues to give of his time, whether through one-on-one attending to individual in need or giving presentations throughout the community. I am thrilled to see him being honored by the city and all of you here today. I wish him continuing success for his next endeavors, as I know there will be 1, 2, maybe even 10 more. Sincerely, Mike Grogan. And now I'd like to see if some of our emeritus steering committee members would like to come up. I can see a few here. Tom Bettinger.
Thanks, Lori. Kind of fitting that you mentioned Mike, because Mike's the one who got me involved with P.A.L.S and with Richard. And what that reminds me is that we all have a connection with Richard. That's why we're here. And we've already heard what many of those connections are, and I'm sure we'll hear many more. But for me, and probably a lot of the rest of you, it's more than just a connection. It's more of a connectedness, or maybe even an interconnectedness. Kind of what Richard aspired P.A.L.S to be, a community of people that care about each other, will do things for each other, without regard to race, gender, class, or age, or any other social demographics. And I'm thinking that that attribute might be what led Richard to his career as an educator. And as an educator, he realized that education isn't just teaching. You know, sometimes we think an educator teaches, but an educator learns too. And Richard has not given up that passion for learning. And one of the ways that I feel interconnected with Richard is through his penchant for Death Cafe. So I'm going to do a little plug for the Death Cafe while I'm here. But, you know, in Death Cafes, you know, people often talk about their legacy or how they want to be remembered. Well, obviously, P.A.L.S is a huge part of Richard's legacy, but it's not the only thing. But another thing people sometimes say during Death Cafes is, wouldn't it be nice to hear what people say during your eulogy, but before you die? So, Richard, I'm going to oblige you to that. Because I don't really believe that that we only exist on this physical dimension. I think that I'm convinced that I'm going to be learning about you, learning from and through you for a long, long time to come, regardless of any circumstances. My personal perspective is that we're all here to teach and to learn. Once we've learned what we're here to learn and we've taught what we're here to teach, then our journey ends. But Richard, I know that we all have so much more to learn from you, that it's going to transcend any kind of physical dimension, regardless of whether you go first or I go first. I know I'll keep learning from you. You know, it's sometimes said that people die twice, once when they physically leave their body, and another time the last time their name is mentioned. And with that premise, Richard, regardless of... well, no, that's the second time. So with that premise, you know, you will be alive in our minds, our hearts, and our spirits for a very, very long time. Thank you, my friend.
And I know, let's see, I've got a few more people. Yes? Yes, but hold on. There's quite a few. We've got a list here. Ruth, I know you'd like to say a few words. We're equal opportunity here. Both sexes get to say words about Richard. Here we go.
Thank you. I don't know when I met you, Richard, but I know it was before P.A.L.S. Do you remember when? I don't know when it was. At least. One thing I have to say about Richard, which everybody else has left out, is that Richard respects and listens to women. Now, some of you might not know this. Some of you might not know how rare this is. But it is an amazing qualification. And I love you, Richard, and I will keep on bringing new ideas to you, and you bring them to me, and we work together on the Death Cafe, and it's just a joy knowing you. Thank you.
Wait.
When Ruthie joined the Stern Committee, I was still steeped in my hierarchical, patriarchal situation. Because I used to be a classroom teacher, you do as I say, or you have detention. I used to be an administrator, and this is the room you're assigned to. What can I say? Ruthie smashed that with me. And I believe that that smashing is the result of our steering committee and the whole program being successful. So thank you for the smash.
Thank you. Okay, so. Okay. Thank you. Let's see, I'm on my list here. Okay, so Bob Jaworski. Right in view.
Well, gosh, my beginning with P.A.L.S was coffee and warm homemade muffins at Richard's house in the living room. I don't know how long ago that was, but it's been a joyride ever since. We were always inspired by the concept of people helping people and forming a family of choice, and it just grew from there. So I'm glad we're still around. I'm still happy to be aware of what P.A.L.S is doing and its importance in the community, and I think there's a wonderful new future. And Richard, you made a mess of things when you really started, but look what it turned out to be. So thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Bob. So let me also ask Vic, come on up.
Richard, I love you. But how many times are you going to retire? This is incredible. I met Richard in 2014. I had a home care agency at the time, and I started that home care company because of my own senior care crisis. My mom had MS, and we knew she had MS. I mean, she had it for 20 years before she had her a major stroke, but we never talked about what to do if mom couldn't take care of herself. Then I met Richard, and it was almost like this bro thing, this kinship, you know, because if you look at his bio on his website, or if you've even talked to Richard, you know that the reason he started P.A.L.S was because of a number of friends who had that same senior care crisis, and they didn't plan ahead. They didn't know what to do. And so he started the P.A.L.S organization, and, you know, he just has had this vision, and he has been relentless in making that vision come true. And he always had his eye on the long term, the long game. He always would say to me, I am scared to death that P.A.L.S is going to die when I'm no longer with the organization, because you did everything. And you have made this organization sustainable, and it is so well known in the desert for what you guys do, for what P.A.L.S does, and you have created a legacy. So kudos. I love you.
Thank you, Vic. I do want to give Vic credit, even though he's emeritus. Without his help, we wouldn't have a website. So if you haven't been to palsinthedesert.com, please do go there shortly. Another person I'd like to bring up is someone who is integral with Richard in founding P.A.L.S. Besides, I think, Mike Rogan, and I think another one or two gentlemen that might be here today. I'd like to bring up Dr. Brian DeVries.
Thank you. I'm an academic, and so I have my remarks prepared in a PowerPoint. And much like Mike Rogan said, it's many of the same kind of thoughts that I've had in thinking of what I like to say to you and to you about Richard. That Richard is an educator, a man of ideas, and something that doesn't often follow a statement like that is that Richard is someone who transforms these ideas into action and products that are meant to benefit others. I think this is a pattern in Richard's life, as others have said as well. For example, in response to violence against LGBT people in his neighborhood in LA when Richard lived there, Richard and colleagues formed an educational and assistance organization both to support those who had experienced such violence and to advocate for change. This group, Uptown Gays and Lesbians Association, right? UGLA? UGLA, that's better. Is still in existence now almost 30 years later, expanding its focus and continuing to make a difference in the lives of LGBT people of all ages. I think further evidence of that pattern is apparent when I met Richard over 11 years ago, prior to the existence of Stonewall Gardens, right? When Richard recognized the need for assisted living and supportive housing for LGBT older persons here in the Valley. True to form, he followed up with this idea, with meeting with key personnel in the housing field, most notably Joy Silver. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll see her later apparently. Who, knowing of my research and interest in the area, encouraged Richard and I to meet. She also encouraged us to document the needs, demands, and interests in the housing that we uncovered. Our meeting through this intellectual matchmaker, Joy, led first, and I think most importantly, to our friendship. It also led to our collaboration and research, including several focus groups of older LGBT people, and as you've heard, mostly in Richard's living room, where we heard repeatedly about the concerns for and fears about later life, including care and community, like who's going to be there for me, and a lack of preparation and planning, like hearing that many people may have completed their wills, but few had made plans for when before such a will might be enacted. Excuse me. Responding to these concerns and needs, Richard started offering seminars free to participants, and although people may not know this, Richard often absorbed the cost behind the scenes for those seminars to share information and preparations for later life and end of life, and to help build community in the process. Those who attended were grateful for what they had learned and often asked for follow-up seminars. And this was the genesis of P.A.L.S, where much like UCLA, in LA, Richard recognized and nurtured the community needs and organically building a successful program. So here we are with P.A.L.S now in its 10th successful year, having educated and connected and helped prepare hundreds of LGBT people, thanks to Richard. And really, thanks, Richard, for your vision, for acting on this vision, for your ideas, for caring, and for your friendship.
Thank you, Brian. Now, I know there are a few other emeritus steering committee members here. Michael? And when Michael's finished, if there are other steering committee members here who would like to say a word or two. Yes, great, okay.
I guess I should have expected that Lorraine would have had a list versus just calling random people up. So, is Candace still here? So, Candace actually introduced my partner Des and I to Richard when we went to the center saying, hey, we really want to volunteer and sorry, not very good with the mic. Wanted to help LGBTQ seniors. And she said, Richard is the guy you need to talk to. And over the years, in about 6-7 years now, he has helped us grow and learn in so many ways. And, you know, he's always been my gut check. You know, Richard, should I have done this? Should I have done it differently? And always give me great advice, coaching and counseling. And, you know, I think the impact you had, the positive change in this community and so many people, it's invaluable. So we really appreciate all that you do. And I think Vic said it, you're always concerned what's going to happen if I retire, what's going to happen. And look around you, you know, mission accomplished. This is going to be sustaining to continue on. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So yes, I know, Rob Weiser. Here we go. Rob, I'll bring it over to you. Make it easy on yourself. Here we go.
Okay. I met Richard, I think within 6 months after I moved to Palm Springs. I had worked in hospice for 15 years, so I was kind of fresh meat for him, I think. And I was the first facilitator for the Death Cafe, but I think I was more known for the wonderful snacks I used to bring in for the Death Cafe. But later on, when I came upon my own health stuff, where I was diagnosed with white matter disease, and with Brian and Richard, they kind of edged me into sharing the whole path and the journey from when did you realize it, when did the doctor send you to a neurologist, what did the neurologist say. Ultimately, it's like an early vascular dementia, but what's affecting me now more than anything is mobility. It's because gait and balance is really affected, as well as confusion. But my family is so appreciative that you did this, that I was taped and I'm on YouTube. So all of my family got to hear all these details. I really love it. And Richard, your trademark is kindness. So we love you forever.
Wow. He was referring to the video that we have on the P.A.L.S website that recounts Rob's story, and it's really quite something to see. So, you know, if you want to know more about vascular dementia and from a personal experience and many other concerns that we all have, we videotape. You use Zoom and you video all of our presentations, at least as many as we can figure out the technology to do it for when we're doing hybrid in person as well as on Zoom at the same time. But they're there. There's quite a few. We have a library. I have someone that I'd like to introduce who really needs no introduction and is here to be the sort of the capstone on our lauding of Richard today. Let me introduce for you our council member, Lisa Middleton.
Well, thank you, and I apologize for being late, and I'm suffering a little whiplash. I just left an event at the College of the Desert Pride Center, and I need to tell you they're all younger than we are. Some of them quite a bit younger. But I did not tell them anything about where I was going because I did not want to scare those poor kids. But among all of us, we know that aging has its impacts. So I've got a proclamation to read, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But I want to say from a personal level to Richard and to all of you who have been involved in this movement to make sure that LGBTQ seniors have an opportunity to live out their lives with dignity, with respect, and in a community that listens to the stories that we have to tell about the lives that we have lived and about what we can tell all of those folks in the generations to come after us who in fact are today benefiting from the work that we did and from the passions that we had. I suppose in this crowd I can say, yes, I do have a little bit of hand flutter from time to time. Whereas Richard Bass is formally retiring from his leadership role as the coordinator and co-founder of Planning Ahead for LGBTQ plus seniors, aka P.A.L.S, in June 2024, after 19 years of dedicated and distinguished service that has improved the lives of LGBTQ seniors and allies throughout the greater Palm Springs area and beyond. Whereas before relocating to Palm Springs in 2005, Richard was a 35-year career educator with the Los Angeles Unified School District, first serving as a classroom teacher and then assistant principal, secondary counseling services until his retirement in 1999. Whereas between 1999 and 2005, Richard resumed working as a fully licensed psychotherapist to provide counseling for people in the LGBTQ plus community of Los Angeles. And whereas after moving to Palm Springs in 2005, he served as the president of the Coachella Valley's LGBTQ plus square dance club, Boots in Squares, from 2006 to 2008, whereas during 2008 and 2009, he also chaired the social committee for Let's Kick Ass, AIDS Survivor Syndrome, and continues to this day to be one of several facilitators for its annual LGBTQ Roundtable. And whereas Richard served as a TV spokesperson for Stonewall Gardens Assisted Living when it was first launched in 2012 to build awareness and community support for it as a welcoming, supportive environment where LGBTQ plus seniors can be well cared for within the dignity and respect that they deserve. Whereas in 2013-14, he was joined by Dr. Brian DeVries, UCSF Professor of Gerontology and co-founding and launching Planning Ahead for LGBTQ plus seniors, aka P.A.L.S, to provide no-cost educational programs, tools, and resources to help LGBTQ plus adults and allies effectively plan ahead before health and other life-altering situations arise and to combat ageism, sexism, and isolation by creating a community of people who look out for one another. Whereas Richard Vass has been a dedicated, caring, and innovative educator and community leader for nearly 55 years, he will be greatly missed by all who have had the pleasure and honor of serving alongside him. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the City Council of the City of Palm Springs, by the power vested in us, with deep appreciation, do hereby declare Thursday, May 2nd, 2024, to be Richard Vass Day, signed by the entire City Council.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And I know Richard wanted, yes, we have just a little thank you for Lisa.
Lisa, thank you very, very much. It's an honor having you present this to me on behalf of Palm Springs. So kudos back to you on your participation and your contributions. Thank you very much. And for all that, we offer you a custom P.A.L.S coffee mug. Thank you.
I'm still the oldest on City Council.
And maybe the greatest. So I have a few more people that I know from our community that want to say a few words. I know we're all kind of like, okay, I hope you're all hydrating, still hydrating, right? But you know, when we hear people share what they're feeling in their hearts, we all feel it too. So let me ask Ruth Berman to come up. Or actually, Ruthie, I'll bring it over to you. Here we go.
I'm sorry I'm not going to be the last one, only because I'm a total example of what you read. And that is, I'm very lucky with capital L, capital U, capital C, capital K, capital Y. Why? I was invited. I have very close friends. My very close friends are Joy and Atma. Most of you know them. And they invited me, I didn't know it was an underhanded invite, to come for 2 weeks and check out Palm Springs. And who's there for dinner? My buddy, my brother, with another mother, which we made up to have now. I had no clue who he was. All right, a gay man, you know, what's the big deal? But I was blessed, because a month after that, my underhanded daughter spoke to Joy and Atma, and they got me here. And I am at Stonewall Gardens. I am number 3 apartment, if you feel like visiting. He is number 15. We're at opposite ends. And he is an extraordinary, whatever you heard is beyond that. Because his friendship and what he has done, certainly in Stonewall, and how he keeps us all together and knowing what to do and how to handle things and who to speak to, etc., is gorgeous. I wrote a couple of words about him, and that is, every day he comes to the table where I sit with a trans woman. That's about all I will tell you. And he sits down with his, where is your cell phone? You're without your cell phone. Hurry up. Let's get a cell phone. And he looks up a word of the day. And that's what we do, a word of a day. And we're all very smart, of course. We do very well with that word of the day. And we go out to dinner, and he asked me if I could be his sister from another mother and he would be my brother from another mother. I've said no to a lot of people. I would never say no to Richard. He's extraordinary. He was blessed. He was blessed to be who he is. And he also did a very wonderful thing for me, to bring me closer to the men, because it's mostly men there, to the gay men at Stonewall, and that he showed my documentary, Ruthie and Connie, Every Room in the House, so everybody sort of knows who I am, and it's very comfortable. I love you, my dear brother from another mother. I bless you, and if there's any, I'm serious, thing you need from me, and I got a lot. I'm not talking about money. Just ask. Love is enough. Absolutely love. Did I mean out a word? Probably. But that's okay, and I appreciate you allowing me to speak for him, with him, about him, because he is beyond what has been said. And I thank you for the proclamation. He absolutely deserves it. I love you.
So as we wrap up our program now, I'd really like to have at least one or two more people come up and speak. Candace, would you like to join us? Candace is our Director of Senior and Women's Program at the LGBTQ Center of the Desert. To all of us women, we know who she is. I don't know, and I think all the men know who you are. So here we go.
Hi there. Hello, everyone. Richard. 10 years ago, almost, I moved here. Richard was one of the first people that I met. How did I meet him? He wrote me an email and said, I'd like to have a meeting. How many of you have gotten one of those? I've gotten many of them throughout the years. And guess what? I never say no. We all say yes to Richard. Because Richard comes to us with a kind heart, an open heart, and a sense of collaboration. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. Because this guy, he says, hey, I've got an idea for this P.A.L.S thing. Like, okay. Hey, we need to have intergenerational something going on. Hey, we need to do storytelling. These were all these different meetings that we would have. And Richard and I did storytelling. And we did all these things. He's just an amazing person that loves our community and truly believes in the collaboration and the spirit of all the LGBTQ plus community, that we can all work together and be together. And that's what makes him special in my eyes. And sorry, Ruthie, he's kind of a brother to me too. Because he's been such a pal the whole time that I've known him. My career here, my life here, would be different if you weren't in it. And I thank you so much for your presence in our community and in my life. Thank you.
So, yes, Richard's asking me, do I get to go? Of course. The teacher, the educator, the pal wants to speak. And I don't blame him. We all need to hear from Richard. So, Richard, here you go. You can sit down if you want. You can, here, I'll hand you the mic.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Lorraine, for everything. You're also a sister from another mother. Indeed. I am thrilled. Trust me, this is amazing. I'm thrilled, my pals, to be among a group of people who have your legal documents organized. You know all of the options for care and how you're going to receive it and who's going to give you care. You have your end of life completely organized. And you know that in 2027 we'll be able to be composted. And some of you have also contemplated your legacy. So I'm very happy about that. You know, I didn't do all of this out of altruism, but I'm here and I am the man I am today. I wasn't sure I wanted to say man because that's very complicated. I don't know what exactly a man is, but there were several paths in my life, and one of the paths was to go from being fiercely independent, because I had to be, and as I got older, I discovered that I was severely isolated. Now, I did a lot of talking with people. I was respected. We had brunch, we had dinners, we had laughs, we had cannabis, we had alcohol, whatever we had. It was a great time. But a long time ago, when I approached my 70s, I realized that I had to take care of myself, and things were happening. Somebody mentioned Roman. My friend Roman, Roman's partner at the time, Ben, had been living with leukemia for 2.5 years. And then one afternoon, he became paralyzed. And I went over there, and nobody knew what to do. And when I left, I said, I didn't know what to do. All I could do was wring my hands. And I thought, well, I live alone. What if I fall down and nobody knows? And then I'm talking to Joey, and Joey used to work in the mortuary business. And he said, well, you can't imagine how many times we'll go pick up a body and there's barely any body left because it's disintegrated, you know, after 14 days or whatever. And I thought, I reviewed my will, and it said I'm going to age at home. I didn't want to age at home. I wanted to be in a community. So I looked at some communities. I didn't want to live in Atria. I didn't want to live in a straight culture. And so I did some searching, and I came upon Joyce Silver. And we met, and it was love at first sight. And we talked about our dreams for seniors and aging. And then Candace, this was in 2013, I think put on the second Red Dress gala. I was one of 8 Virgin Air flight attendants. And the event took place at a Spanish mansion where supposedly Joe DiMaggio and Marilyn Monroe stayed. I don't know what they did there. And I recall that the place was, all the paths were Mexican tile. Well, girl, with heels, it was not pretty. But Joy introduced me to Brian DeVries, professor of gerontology. So we shared our vision of seniors, and actually Brian's research on LGBTQ seniors gave authority and a base for my vision. And eventually we did focus groups because I wanted to create an LGBTQ assisted living. And we did focus groups to show people, to develop a market of people who think about aging. And therefore, assisted living would be one of the options for receiving care as we age. Well, guess what? Stonewall Gardens opened in the meantime. I think it was 2015. Pissed me off because they stole my idea. So I had a conversation with myself, Richard, that's okay, you don't have to do it. But we continued with P.A.L.S. And now I'm getting back to my isolation because prior to P.A.L.S, I realized that in order to have more personal relationships, I needed to add to my repertoire of conversation some kind of more personal information. But we did not talk about care. And then with PALS and aging, I needed to talk about it. And I needed to make connections. And through our seminars, I made those connections. And Tom, you said it beautifully. They're more than connections, they're connectivity. I don't feel isolated anymore. I feel connected. I feel connected with every single one of you. I am not alone anymore. I am not isolated anymore. I am living in an assisted living where I feel safe for the first time. I can cross my legs no matter, well, anyway. It's an LGBTQ culture. Many of you have helped me along the way. Alex, you and I have become so close. We collaborated on creating a discussion group for Let's Kick Ass. It is continuing. It's an opportunity for people to talk, real talk with one another. All of this goes way beyond brunch or dinner or cocktails or happy hour or whatever. So I embrace every single one of you, and I appreciate what has become, and you realize what has become of the conversations that we have looking after each other. Because for me it was personal, and now look, you're all here. This is amazing. And I have one last thing to say. Vote in the election of November. Thank you. I love you.
I just have a couple more things to say. I know everybody's getting anxious and ready to drink some more drinks and eat some more food, but I just want to say that I don't have anything prepared as to what my tribute would be to Richard, because it's still to be written. I feel like I'm going to continue to know him for as many years as possible and continue. I know he'll be whispering in each one of our steering committee members' ears over the next years or so as we carry on this wonderful legacy and carry on what PALS is all about.
I want to thank you all for watching this rebroadcast of the wonderful retirement party for Richard Bass. Richard, I love you, and I have really enjoyed reliving all of the tributes to you. And I'm grateful that there is such a thing as Caring Bridge, so your community can be in touch with you. So for those watching the video, just a reminder, in the text associated with this video is a link to the Caring Bridge page where you can interact with our dear Richard. And I also wanted to share a note about donations and tributes. Excuse me. So Alex Snell writes 100% of tributes and donations in Richard's name on the Caring Bridge page go to Caring Bridge. However, for the past 3 years, Richard has tirelessly spearheaded the creation of Triangle Care Management, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to ensuring that LGBTQ plus individuals who are aging or living with disabilities receive the compassionate, affirming care they deserve without financial barriers. And there's a way to honor Richard with a donation, and it's trianglecaremanagement.org. Also, PALS is at palsinthedesert.com, and you can find this particular episode on PromoHomo.TV. So with that, I want to thank you all for watching. And I hope that you find your passion and that you follow it, and that when you're no longer here, you leave a legacy that that you wanted. I know that my 40 years of multimedia entertainment activism has been inspired by people that taught me to express my life force in a way that makes a difference. And Richard, you certainly are. You have. You will continue. And as one of the speakers said at the tribute to you at your retirement, your name will be spoken a long time after you and I have left this physical plane. So thank you for being you. Thank everybody for watching. And I will see you next time.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running, the catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain tops. So I made some plans, some dreams to catch, to promised lands, to find my path, see the planet from greater heights. I have found a place out of time and space, far from city lights, up on greater heights. See the blue sky, feel the